In the late 90s and into the early 2000s, it seemed like Walt Disney Animation could do no wrong. As long as you got them to be associated with your project, you'd most likely make a profit. Right off the back of Tarzan, Lilo and Stitch, and Emperor's New Groove, everything was great for Disney Animation. Until 2002, when Treasure Planet came out. Although it had good reception, it bombed at the box office. And so after that, we never heard of the film from Disney again. But behind the scenes, a crew had been working on a sequel to the film for almost a year. Today, we take a look back behind the scenes and see the story and troubles of the cancelled film, Treasure Planet 2. While Treasure Planet was being animated and finished, the writing team of the first film was working hard on the sequel's screenplay. Eventually it was finished, but keep this in mind, even though it was finished, that doesn't mean that it wouldn't have eventually gone through a bunch of rewrites. Very rarely does the original version of the script make it till the end of the film. If Treasure Planet 2 was eventually made, it's very possible the story we have could be very different. Now, before we get into the story of the sequel, let me quickly go over the story of the first, since you probably don't remember every character in detail, and you're gonna need to know them to understand the script of Treasure Planet 2. Don't worry, it'll be quick, but if you remember everything from Treasure Planet 1 and you're confident, you can skip to this timestamp right here. So, say hello to 15-year-old Jim Hawkins. He dreams of one day being a pirate who may find the legendary Treasure Planet, a place where old pirates used to hide their loot. Jim eventually finds what he believes is a map to Treasure Planet, and the search is on. He eventually gets onto a ship with Captain Amelia, a little pink friend named Morph, and his new father figure, a cook named John Silver. John Silver and Jim immediately grow a close bond, but one day Jim overhears crew members talking about how they're going to revolt against Captain Amelia with their new leader, John Silver. They want Treasure Planet all to themselves. Upon hearing about this, Jim, Captain Amelia, and Morph escape the ship while John Silver's crew takes over. As they get away, they then realize that they left Jim's map to Treasure Planet on the ship. Eventually, Amelia, Jim, and Morph meet Ben, who invites them into his shelter as they realize John Silver's crew is still coming after them. Eventually, they catch up and Jim takes this chance to get the map back, but they are all captured in the process. John Silver then makes Jim use the map, which is able to open a portal to Treasure Island. John Silver had succeeded. Him and his crew begin looting the planet, but Jim and his friends realize that the planet is actually meant to explode if it is found by anybody. Jim warns John Silver and his crew, and they barely make it out of time with any treasure. The ship is damaged, but Jim is able to save his friends, John Silver, and the rest of his crew. As they're able to come back home, John Silver gives Jim some of the treasure so he can fix up the ship. John Silver believes in Jim. He believes that he is the future. Jim and John Silver become friends once again. Captain Amelia then gets Jim into the best interstellar academy, and everybody has a happy ending after the escape from Treasure Planet. So of course I left some things out for time, but that's basically what you need to know about the first Treasure Planet. To properly explain Treasure Planet 2, I'm going to use a long quote from John Falkenstein, who has been an animation director, writer, and storyboard artist for Disney for a long time. She was one of the individuals who was working behind the scenes on Treasure Planet 2. In fact, she was the director. Since the script has not been released to the public, she commented on the film and what the story would have been. So without further ado, let me tell you the story of Treasure Planet 2. Oh shit, that rhymed. The sequel was to pick up where the first film left off, with Jim Hawkins going to the Royal Interstellar Academy. At the academy, he is the hotshot natural, but he doesn't exactly follow the rules very well. Hence, he gets off to a shaky start, especially with his classmate Kate, who is very smart and has a type A personality. Jim and Kate tie for top of the class, but for very different skills. Captain Amelia is dean of the academy, which has a brand new vessel, the Centurion. The Centurion is the fastest ship in the galaxy, and Ben is his pilot. But just as everything seems to be going well for everybody, we realize that the pirate Captain Ironbeard is there to steal the Centurion. This ruthless villain is relatively all iron. Almost nothing of him is human anymore. He leads a group of pirates to hijack the Centurion while Jim and Kate are aboard. The Navy can't catch the Centurion due to its vessel's speed and armor, and thus Ironbeard gets away. Luckily though, Jim and Kate escape the Centurion. Jim decides that he needs a pirate ship and other pirates to help him catch Ironbeard. He goes out and he finds his long old buddy, John Silver, in the Lagoon Nebula. Once they tell Silver about the situation, he agrees to help them. Jim and Kate then receive a tracking signal from Ben, who is currently a hostage aboard the Centurion. Once they receive that, they follow Ironbeard's vessel with John Silver. They discover the Centurion dock near the Botany Bay prison asteroid. Once they catch up, Jim, Kate, and John Silver sneak aboard the Centurion, where Silver reveals to Jim that he wants to take the Centurion for himself. With his new plan, he asks Jim to join him. Kate overhears this and is horrified, especially since the two have of course started to fall for each other during this adventure. But just as this is all happening, Ironbeard discovers our three heroes. Eventually John Silver, Kate, and Jim are able to get away, but John Silver is injured in the process and they shoot down John Silver's ship. Once the ship is gone, they plummet below, crash landing. Kate is angry at Jim and storms off. Jim is about to blow her off as well when Silver tells him to give her a chance. He reveals a part of his past through a flashback, when a young Silver screwed up a relationship with the love of his life, a decision which directly led him to a life of piracy. After this, Jim begins to think differently, and Silver reveals that he has very dangerous cargo with him that he's been trying to smuggle and sell for a fortune, which has the power of a neutron bomb. Jim, Kate, and Silver reconcile and work together to fix Silver's ship and prevent the Centurion, filled with the most evil pirates in the galaxy, from going on an insane robbing and killing spree. At the last second, Silver reluctantly gives up his retirement fund, which is the neutron bomb, in order to destroy the Centurion with Ironbeard and all of the pirates on board. After their victory, Silver again parts from Jim and Kate, telling them to take care of each other. A few years later, Jim and Kate graduate with honors, while a proud Silver secretly watches from the shadows, smiling. And that's the story of Treasure Planet 2. It seems as if they were definitely trying to leave the film open for another sequel, hopeful for a trilogy. Of course, we know that this would never happen. Even though we've gone over the story, there's still more to know though. Let's quickly go over some of the cast and crew, and then we'll get into why and how this movie was cancelled. All of the cast of the first film was set to return: Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Emma Thompson, etc. Right off the back of Spider-Man, Willem Dafoe was supposed to come in to voice Ironbeard, but the voice of Kate hadn't been decided. John Musker and Ron Clements, the two directors of the first film, were not coming back, but they still helped with some of the production. While they were working on the sequel, Disney had high hopes for the first Treasure Planet. In fact, they were so confident that it would perform well, they had a Treasure Planet TV show ready. Thomas Schumacher, the past president of Walt Disney Animation, stated that there's also a notion of what a series could be. I have all the pieces in place, and should we decide to push the button, we push the button and go with it. Disney Animation was waiting to see the reception to Treasure Planet, and if it was received well, they would immediately begin work on the TV show, while also continuing work on the sequel. Now of course we know, just like the trilogy, the TV show would never happen. And speaking of which, let's get into the day of the film's cancellation and what happened to the crew and the movie as a whole. During Thanksgiving of 2002, Treasure Planet came out to families everywhere, and it bombed. On a budget of $140 million, the film only made $17 million on its first weekend. As the crew behind Treasure Planet 2 watched the numbers come in, they realized their works on the sequel would come to an end. The Monday afterward, director John Fulkenstein and voice director Jamie Tomlinson were at the recording studio in New York. Willem Dafoe was scheduled to arrive in 30 minutes to record his lines, but they were afraid the bad news about Treasure Planet 2 was on the way. As they sat there nervous, their creative team received a phone call. They called in Fulkenstein and they put it on speakerphone. Disney revealed the bad news. Treasure Planet 2 had been cancelled. All of the work that they had been busy with for almost the past year had been for nothing. Eventually, the team broke up and began to work on other films or projects. It's pretty obvious why the sequel was cancelled. Even though people like me and many others thought it was a great film, it still bombed. And of course, if Disney loses money on something, they're gonna cancel it. It's still such a shame though. Treasure Planet was great, and it sucks to not see the sequel ever truly make it. So as per usual, I've put a poll up in the corner asking whether or not you guys would think this film would have been good, or whether or not you would have liked to have seen it. And for me, hell yeah, it sounds like a ton of fun just like the first. I could seriously get behind Treasure Planet 2. Also, usually during this part of the video I go over the Patreon supporters, but I actually have a quick announcement about this. I'm completely revamping the Patreon. I've removed every tier except for one. It's a $2 tier that will get your name in the credits of every single video, as well as give you full access to everything that's on Patreon. I would honestly feel too bad asking for anything more, so I'm sticking to one super cheap tier. So if you want to help support the channel, the link is right on the top of the description. And of course, thank you to all the past Patreon donators for keeping the channel going while I was figuring things out. Also, one last thing, I was on the Pizza Party podcast with RebelTaxi, and if you want to watch that, I'll throw that in the description, and it's on his channel. So if you want to hear me talk about canceled stuff, or really anything that I went on a tangent about, then you can go ahead and watch that. Here's also a quick clip if you want to see what you're getting yourself into if you watch this. I keep on getting comments on my videos. I've posted about this on my Twitter. People don't call me like Cutshort anymore, and by bringing this up, I'm only going to make it worse. but everyone just keeps on calling me cum shot. And I can't stop it. There's no stopping it.
What caused this?
It cannot be derailed.
What happened? Why are they doing that?
I don't know. Some guy made some comment once and it was like cut short, more like cum shot, am I right? And it got to the top. And I was like, oh no.
Pan, was that you?
No, that's not a pun I would use.
It was a ton of fun. I had a great time recording with them. So again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Sometimes I wanna fade away, sit back and enjoy the day. I need to feel the breeze laying in the shade. Not a single thought on my mind, just living in the moment while I'm lost in time. Free enough to do anything I please, coasting with the wind, floating on some leaves. Take me to a place where love is guaranteed. As long as I got that, I'll never leave. Will you coast with me?